Hi everyone, my name is Ellie Mae with Silhouette Secrets Plus and Cricut Customs, and welcome to this class in Crafting for Profit. Now I want to let you know right up front that I am not a seller. I am not someone I don't sell files, I don't sell anything except classes. I teach and I instruct classes, and what people find me for probably the most is my troubleshooting and how I can troubleshoot with a machine. Now, typically, a business owner would find me because they are ready to pull their hair out. They are screaming, they are yelling, they are frustrated, and they are ready to throw their machine out the window. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard that. I want to share with you some tips that will hopefully help for you. And the main focus of this class is about large format cutting machines. Now, hopefully the tips that I am going to share with you are going to spark some thinking points for you on whether or not a large format cutting machine would be beneficial for you for your business. There's a couple tips I'm going to share before you ever should get started with a large format machine. Now, what you're going to see here in this picture, it's really hard to get in the photo in one shot. So this is my working studio. I have a small room where I record in. I have projects behind me. I am a creator. I am the creator, blogger, content creator behind the Silhouette Secrets website. And I'm on YouTube with Silhouette Secrets and Cricut Customs. So that's what you're seeing in the background here. It is very hard to get the two large format machines that I have into this picture. So bear with me with that. You may see machines cut off here, but this is what I'm using as my examples. Now, this class is not focused on a machine specifically. The tips I'm going to share are going to work for all large format machines, whether you are using the Cameo Pro, the Siser Romeo, or even the Cricut Venture, but they will also work for professional cutting machines as well if you are ready to invest in that. So along that note, the very first tip I will share with you is, do you have the space for a large format cutting machine to operate properly? So I can tell you from my experience with the Cameo Pro needs a lot of space to function. It needs a completely flat surface, and it depends on how you're using this. So these two machines right here and the Cricut Venture now can all use not only cutting off of a roll of material, but also with a cutting mat. However, with that cutting mat, if you plan to use it, it needs space to move, no matter what machine you're working with. So in particular with the Cameo Pro, you need space that is 22 inches flat, clear in front and behind the machine if you're using the cutting mat. The same would go for the Siser Romeo. I would highly recommend having that fully supported space. Now, the Cricut Venture is just a little bit different because it has that 45-degree angle, but you still need clearance in front of the machine and behind the machine. Another thing you have to think about if you're cutting with a mat or when you get to cutting long lengths of vinyl is gravity. This isn't thought about very often, but gravity has effects on your machine and your materials. If you have a large surface hanging down in front or behind your machine, the machines, especially craft cutters, do not have the strength to hold that in the machine and pull it forwards and backwards and move with all of that motion always 100% of the time. It's not designed to work against gravity. Okay, so it needs space. And you can see from here, just the machine alone, it needs space to function. I highly recommend a dedicated, flat, stable surface for your large format cutting machines. So one, do you have the space for a large format cutting machine? Two, is it something that you will utilize enough that you can justify the investment and having that dedicated space? Now, as we go through this, you'll get some more answers to that question. So one of the most important things I think about getting a new machine, any new machine, but especially a large format cutting machine, is that you need time to learn that new machine. No matter if you have experience or not, it is a completely different machine setup. In some cases, if you are switching brands, you may be dealing with different software. It is a new skill, and you need to be patient with yourself in learning that new skill. I see so many users who are frustrated and ready to quit because they're trying to learn a new machine during their busiest time of the year. Yes, it would be great if that machine could ramp up and you have those skills and the knowledge to not only use the machine, but to troubleshoot any issues that you come up with and have all your orders out the door. But that's just not always the reality of it. And in most cases, it's not at all the reality of it. So I would highly recommend not upgrading your machine during the busiest time of your year. If you have deadlines to meet, if you have a high number of orders to get out the door, now is not the time to try to learn a new machine or to troubleshoot your machine. The setup of a machine, of any machine, but in this case, large format cutting machines, because that's what the class is about. The setup is one of the most important parts about it. If you are not set up properly, it doesn't matter which brand that you're using, it is not going to function properly, and you are just going to end up tearing your hair out, screaming, cussing, drinking wine, whatever you do to get out of that situation. It is going to be very frustrating, especially if you're trying to complete orders or meet deadlines. Knowing how your machine works and how to troubleshoot the issues that you encounter is going to save you time, money, and frustration in the long run. Try to choose a time to learn a new machine when you are not as busy with orders. Try to choose a slower time in your business that you can take some time dedicated to learning the new machine, new software if you need it, and to be able to watch that machine work. And I find that if you can watch your machine and watch how it really works, you're going to know when something goes wrong, and a lot of times you're going to know how to fix it. That's how I learn what I've learned over the last 7 years of being a silhouette instructor and now teaching with the Siser cutting machines. I just watch the machine. I watch what is off, and now I can pick up, typically, usually, not always, because troubleshooting is a process. But if I can look at a photo of a user's machine, usually I can spot what the problem is if I've been given a good enough description. Troubleshooting is a process, but if you can learn how your machine works, how it is supposed to work properly, you're going to be able to hear when it doesn't work properly, and you can look at it and try to determine why. That's going to save you time. It may not seem like it when you're in the learning process, but it is going to save you the time, the money, and the frustration when you are slammed with orders and something goes wrong. If you know how to fix it, it's a lot less frustrating than you just have orders that aren't going out the door. I'd recommend that you just plan some time to play, dedicated to that new machine, learn how it works, but don't wait forever. If you have invested in a large format cutting machine, get it out of the box. Don't let it scream your name sitting in that box for too long, especially because if there is something wrong with the machine, which happens for all equipment, it is not specific to cutting machines, happens to all electronic equipment. If there's something wrong with that machine or something does go wrong, you have a limited time on your warranty. So don't let it sit in the box too long. Dedicate some time for you to learn a new skill. You are investing in yourself. And yes, I understand that orders are what drives you, and the orders are backing up. Take a little bit of time when you have a slower time in your business and stop and learn this machine. Whichever model machine that you are taking the time, try to find someone who is knowledgeable. When I say that, I say anybody can create a YouTube video, but it's not always accurate. So try to find, if you're going to follow somebody, try to find somebody who's knowledgeable in that machine. First, I would start with the company and see if they have videos that are out there. Next, you can look and see if there's people or if you can get recommendations. So it is a great resource to have all of this information available at our fingertips on YouTube and in videos, but make sure you're following somebody who is knowledgeable to be able to help you to get started. Okay, now that I've gotten the most important factor out the door, learn your machine. Take time to learn your machine. I want to share with you just a couple of ways that a large format cutting machine can help you. So I am going to set up, and I'm going to set up with the Siser Romeo, but that doesn't mean that it is specific to Siser Romeo. I am going to show you with Siser Romeo and the Leonardo Design Studio software, but all cutting machines should have these functions in some way or another. It may be called something different in those cutting machines, but this is not a specific course for a specific machine. I'm just going to demonstrate to you with the Siser Romeo how it might be beneficial to someone who is looking to either expand their business or to help in their orders that they currently have. Okay, so I am set up with the Siser Romeo is a 24-inch cutting machine. Now, these tips should work for all of your large format cutting machines, even if the terminology is just a little bit different in each one. So it is not specific to a certain machine, but in general, for your business and for being able to increase your production time, or in some cases, increase your scaling of projects. And what I mean by that is that a large format cutting machine can give you the opportunities to create larger designs. So this is larger than an average craft cutting machine can cut. So it's wider and it's longer, but in particular, it's wider. So it's about 17.5 inches wide, I believe, when I cut it. So you can expand on the products that you are using. Now this one I created originally when I got my Cameo Pro. It could be done on a small scale, but it also saves you time if you can cut it all at one time and you don't have to piece individual pieces together on a sign. Also, the one behind me was also cut using the Siser Romeo machine. Once I got it, I was testing it out and seeing what I could really do with it. So you can go detailed designs, you can go larger scale. So if you're looking to expand on what you currently offer and have available. Now, one thing I will note here, just because I kind of find it funny. So when I record these videos, I always have to like turn the video a little bit because that photo behind me, something is always off. It's always crooked. Well, be careful when you buy store-bought frames and blanks for wood signs. Just an extra tip in here. Because I thought it was a great idea, I usually source things that other people can find in the stores and be able to recreate themselves. Again, I don't sell, so I am showing people how they can do stuff. But I thought that something in my room was off kilter. It isn't. That isn't square. So be careful when you are buying blanks and things like that. But it also gives you the opportunity to be able to create larger format projects like that, to do large wall decals and installations a little bit easier instead of having to piece things together. Now, piecing things together is not wrong, but it can take more time. And if you've ever done it, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So that is one way that a large format cutting machine can help you in your small business. You can expand on what you can currently offer and maybe make yourself a little more unique in your market. The other way that a large format cutting machine can help is by being able to cut more designs at one time. So this does take practice, and it's another reason that I highly recommend you get to know your machine first. So I am going to show you in the Leonardo Design Studio software exactly what I mean by that, but I'm going to be able to mass produce or produce more than just a couple decals on a 24-inch roll of vinyl. Now, I will tell you, in my setup, I do have the Romeo roll feeder set up behind here with my 24-inch roll of Oracal vinyl. Now, you want to set everything up for success, and because I'm on video, I am going to cross my fingers and hope that this whole demo goes according to plan. But I also understand that things go wrong whether you are experienced or not, you are going to encounter issues. It is how you handle those issues and how you can troubleshoot those issues that is going to determine how long it takes for you to get past that. So let's jump over into the Leonardo Design Studio software, and I will show you a feature that you can create multiple decals. Before we do that, I do want to point out that another great feature to do is test cuts. On any machine, large format, small, craft cutter, professional cutter, test cuts will save you time and money. So you can see right here, I've already done my test cut with the Siser machine. It's a little tiny t-shirt. It is awesome, and it will save you time, money, and frustration. That's an extra tip that I just thought about. So over in Leonardo Design Studio, I have pulled in our Swift Creek Customs logo onto my design mat. Now, I didn't do any prior prep to this, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to tell my machine, first off, I have to actually change the machine. So I'm going to come up to File and Manage Cutters, and I need to make sure it's on Romeo. Otherwise, it's not going to let me change this. And then I'm going to tell it I'm using a material roll. Cutting off of a material roll is a great feature for any cutting machine because you don't need cutting mats. You can utilize a larger space typically, and you can just get to cutting off of that roll. So I am going to tell it that I have a 24-inch wide, and I'm going to tell it, let's just say 24 inches long. I do have a roll here that is longer than that. And my little decal here is about 3 inches wide. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw a circle so I can put this as a decal, and I'm going to increase the size of this circle. I'm going to change this color so we can kind of see that. And since I drew it on top, it's going to be in front. That isn't a problem. I'm going to right click and choose Order and Send to Back. And then I am simply going to center this so I can create the decal that I want to cut. And then I'm going to place that in the top corner. With both of those selected, I'm going to Control G, and that's going to group those together. And then I'm going to use a feature in the Siser Leonardo Design Studio software that is called Tile Array. Now, it will be called something different in other programs. You could simply copy and paste this multiple times. In Cricut, I believe you can just tell it how many copies you want on the page. I like to see exactly how many copies I'm going to have here. So I'm going to show the tile array. It is a Siser Leonardo Design Studio Pro tool, which does mean that you have to be a pro user in order for it to show up. If you do not have Pro, the simple and easiest way to do this would be to Control-C, Control-V, and simply fill your page. And honestly, sometimes that's what I do because I am old school. But once I have this page set up, then it's set. I can save the file and I'm done. So I'm just going to delete those. So that's the old school. So I'm going to come down to the bottom toolbar and I'm going to click on this little icon. It's actually going to change once I choose a different tool, and I'm going to move over to the tile array option. And then it's going to open up a window here, and it's going to ask me what I would like to do. So it's showing that I have a 24-inch square, and I want to increase the number of decals. You can see if I increase it too far, it's going to show that it goes off of the page. And then I can also increase it vertically. So I can fill my page and create this design. I can also space this out and give it a little bit wider gap, which can help for weeding. So if I wanted to do this, I'm not sure, this may last me for, since I don't sell anything, may last me with decals for a really long time. So I can also include grid lines. Or what you can do in any software, if you don't have weeding lines, is you can simply draw your own, and you could draw rectangles around each one of those, and it serves as a weeding box, which I'll show you a little bit about as we get with the finished cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Apply, and it's going to apply that to my design. And then the next thing that I can do is I can simply come up here to send design. And now I have all of these decals ready to go. They can go in one job and I can send them to cut. So what I actually need to go back and do is with Leonardo, it separates things out. I am going to don't separate by colors, and I'm going to choose send, and then it's going to send all of that. Since it's cutting out of adhesive vinyl, it's all the same cut setting. I can send it all as one cut, and it's going to cut all of these decals out for me. So I'm going to use the cutter's settings because that's what I test cut with. And then I'm going to zoom in here and we'll take a quick look at the cutting process, and I'll speed the video up till the very end. So here's a quick look at the Siser Romeo in action, cutting the design that was set up on the Leonardo Design Studio software. It is working in a very efficient manner. It is super fast, but you don't always want to cut your designs super fast. But Romeo is a quick machine. So it just gives you an idea of that process, and it quickly had all of my decals cut out for me. Now we have a full sheet. It's hard to get it in the photo, but I have all of these decals cut. This is the top edge. I can just move this out, and I don't even need to take it out of my machine to show you, but I do have these weeding lines that Siser Romeo created for me. So it can definitely help speed up your production in your decal creation. So then I could go ahead, and it's up to you how you weed your designs. Typically I wouldn't weed them on the machine, but I can simply come in and I can take that out and have this design weeded in no time, and then take it off my machine. Here's another example. So there's my weeding box, and I have all of those decals ready to cut. Another tip that I will just throw out here is make sure you measure your vinyl width when you're working with the large format cutting machines. Mine was a little bit off, and so my designs on this right side are a little bit cut off, but I still have all of these designs. So again, another thing you can do when you learn your machine and figure out why. In this case, it was completely 100% user error. And another quick look at just the entire sheet that I cut and weeding that. On those ones that the circle didn't cut right, I just simply weeded the circle out, and now I have a different design that I can use for my decal. I'm set for decals for a long while since I don't sell anything. Now, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen and watch this class. I hope you've picked up a few tricks or tips that might help you be more productive in your business and give you some ideas. Even if you don't use the same things that I have talked about, maybe it's brought up some other ideas that will help you be more efficient in your business. If you have any questions, please let me know. I am on all social media as Silhouette Secrets or Swift Creek Customs. Thanks for joining me. Make sure to check out underneath this video for more information on the class and the offers. Thanks and have a great day.